Hello everyone! Today we're cooking with one of my favorite ingredients, and that is tofu. We're making a tofu stir fry, and I can assure you that by the time you're done with this recipe, you will not be missing the meat. If you want to see the full recipe, you can check out gingerandseasalt.com. So first things first, we're going to heat up our wok with about 5 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and we're just going to make sure that our wok is very, very hot. Then we're going to add our tofu that has been sitting in our marinade. And as you can tell, there's a lot of splashing going on. This is because the marinade contains a lot of water or water-based ingredients. So if you're the kind of person who's squeamish, well, you might just want to maybe cover it halfway. Although do remember that once you cover it, it's that the lid is still going to condense and the water is going to go back into the pan. So another thing you can do is just reduce the amount of oil so that there's less splashing. Or you can do what someone who's really close to me did. She was going to fry fish and she decided to wear a raincoat. Yeah, because you know how it's like when you're frying fish and the fish is not completely dry and there's still water in it, and you know how it's going to splash. So she decided to wear a raincoat and she was safe and dry. And I guess if that's your kind of thing, you can do that. Go get a raincoat. Now we're going to cook our tofu until it's nice and brown. And the reason I like this recipe in particular is because tofu is actually quite tasty. People like to think of it as a bit bland, but if you're doing everything right, it can be really, really tasty. And I actually made this tofu myself. I saw a recipe on alphafoodie.com, and it's a beautiful, beautiful recipe that's really easy to make even if you don't have the nigari, which is used for curdling the soy. So I adjusted the recipe somewhat, and so that for every 600 grams of soybeans that I used 6 tablespoons of lemon juice to curdle the soy. And I've made this several times and it turns out wonderful every time. So if you're looking to make tofu, it's really easy. Sometimes new things that you haven't tried can be a bit daunting, but you give it a go and then it works out. The first time I tried it with another recipe was a total disaster. My tofu ended up looking like porridge and it was crazy. But then you can't give up. You've got to try again, and I'm happy to say that this is one of my favorite things to do. And it doesn't even take that long. The only thing you have to do is to soak your soybeans overnight. But then the rest of the process is really, really easy. So as we can see, our tofu has gotten nice and brown. And once we're happy with the color, we're going to set that to the side. Then we'll put our wok back on with less oil and then fry in our ginger and our garlic. And there's going to be more splashing. Then we'll add our onions as well as our spring onions. Now you can decide to add the spring onions towards the end, but for this particular recipe, I decided to put in the spring onions right after the regular onions. Give that a quick stir. And I tend to like to wipe the side of my cooking utensils when I'm cooking because I just think it looks a bit better. And this process is going to go like really, really fast. We're going to add our carrots as well. We don't want our carrots turning too soft. So we're frying them a bit. And then we're going to add our bell peppers, our colorful bell peppers. We've got green, red, and yellow bell peppers in there. You can use whichever ones you have. It's nothing strict. Whatever you have, just make do with it. So at this point, we're going to put our tofu back into our pan. And give that a quick stir as well. At this point, everything is basically done. We just want to mix them together. And then we're going to add whatever was left of the marinade into the stir fry just to slightly thicken up. So this is not going to give you a lot of sauce, but if you want to do that, you can mix some cornstarch with water and soy sauce, and then you can get a bit more sauce for whatever you're eating this with. Because there's cornstarch in there, it's going to thicken up a bit, and that's what you want. And that's basically it. Wipe off the sides of your wok a bit, just for it to look a bit nice, and you're basically done. Give that a little shake and you're done. It's a tasty, tasty meal. You would not know that it's tofu. Like I said, people tend to find it quite bland, but when you marinate it well, it's quite tasty. And that's about it. So we've got our finished product here, a beautiful tofu stir fry. You can see the end product there in the pictures. I hope that you will try this recipe. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And happy eating!